Imagine having 5 different breeds of animals, 10 different varieties of crops, all in 1.5 acres of land. What if we told you that is possible? That is the story of our farmer today. Welcome to KI Africa, a channel where we bring you stories of farmers to encourage you to start this journey of farming. So let's go meet our farmer, Madam Joyce.
So I'm Hinga Brian, the farm manager, animal production and management farm at Charis Farm. So today we're going to talk about dairy goats, and we're in the dairy goat section unit. So we have very different varieties in Kenya. For the first variety that we have in Kenya is the Togen. We also have the Alpines. We also have something called the Sanin. We also have the Angora Nubian. We also have very different breeds within the Alpine. We have the German, we have the British, and we have the French Alpine. In Charis Farm, we have the Toggenburg, we have the Sanin, we have the Angora goat, we also have the German Alpine, we have also the Sanin, and we also have something called the French and the British Alpine. So as I go and start here, these are Angora goats. Gave birth yesterday to Adori, and it stayed for 21 weeks. Those are 5 months, and it gave us to this beautiful baby girl that we are going to name Agnes. Yeah, and these goats are usually kept mostly for ornamental in Kenya, but in developed countries they are usually harvested for their mohair. So the mohair usually is used for making strings and also making clothes. Yeah. For the next breed that we have over here, we have the crossbreed between the Kenyan Alpine and the French Alpine. So as it can be defined by the black socks and also the black line that passes from the behind, the back line. We usually have that black stripe. For the crossbreed, this crossbreed can go from up to 2 liters to 3 liters in a day. But according to management and the production, na venye utamuweka. Yeah. In this other section, we have the Kenyan Alpine. We also have the French Alpine and have the German Alpine. For the French Alpine, you can distinguish it away from the German because of the black forehead. So the German usually have a black forehead, and the French ikona a chocolate forehead. You can distinguish between those two by looking at their forehead. So this is the French Alpine. As you can see, ikona a chocolate face. But for the German Alpine, as you can see over here, has a black forehead. For the two, they can go for 2 liters to 3 liters in a day. But in Charis Farm, they are going for only 1 liter to 3 liters. Yeah? Yeah. So when it comes to feeding of dairy goats, what are you feeding them? In Charis Farm, we usually feed them 3 times in a day. The ones being milked, after being milked, they are usually, that is early in the morning, we usually provide them something called concentrates. And what do I mean by concentrates? These are dairy meal. They are made and mixed only for dairy producing animal. Then after that they are usually given something called silage, which is maybe harvested at DAF or the milk stage, according to how your farm as a farmer you may decide to harvest them. Then in the most times of this evening, we usually feed them and supplement them with some Boma Rhodes with a mix of Rusan. Yeah. So dairy goats need to be created, need to be placed in a raised ground, away from the ground, so that they can be raised to avoid parasite infestation into their hides. Yeah. So when you come into the housing structure, as you can see, it is well aerated. Second thing, it is not damp. It is damp proof. Yani haina leakages, no water leakages or anything of the sort. As you can see in the back section area, all these are the Kenyan Alpine or the German Alpine. We say that the Kenyan or the German Alpine has a black forehead face. So it is usually raised 1 meter or half a meter from the ground. Then the ground floor of the housing of the goat, where they are staying, should be slanted, having spacious spaces in within, so that to avoid that retention water occupancy at that place, and also avoid the manure or the feces from the goat from staying there. So they usually fall within those gaps and they fall to the ground, that leading to easy correction of manure. We also have another breed over here, also called the Saanen. So the Saanen usually ranges from 2 to even 5 liters, but for here they're only going for up to 4 liters. For the Saanen we only have 3, and the Saanen we usually say they are usually white with pink pigment. So these are like the heavy milk producers in the dairy goat unit compared to the German Alpine. So after the Saanen, we usually go to the Alpines. Yeah. So this is also an Angora goat, only kept for mohair and ornamental purpose. They can go for 0.5 liters to 1 liters in a day. So most of these are for ornamental and purpose for mohair. On this other section, we also have the Alpines, but these are crosses. We have the French with the crosses of the German and also the British. Alpines, we only advocate using the German Alpine back. Yeah. On this side, we also have another French Alpine. And on this other side, we also have another German. And as you can see over here, we have 2 pure breed for the Toggen and the Saanen, as you can come and see. So the white one is the daughter to the first Saanen that I've shown you. So that is 1 year and one year and a quarter or a half year, the same as to this. So as you can see, they don't have horns. They are just totally old. Yeah, and they are easy to keep because they are all old, and they don't fight because they don't have horns. On this other section, as you can see, all these animals are confined on their own spaces. The reason behind that is because of their horns. They are so much aggressive towards each other, especially when they are pregnant. You may find that this female is trying to fight with this one, and this one is pregnant. Then it will bring about something called the abortion. Yeah. Then there are very many types of diseases that usually originate from within. So one disease that we have witnessed in Charis farm is pink eye, pneumonia, and also mastitis. So mastitis usually come because of incomplete milkness or poor hygiene. Yeah. For the pneumonia, usually comes because of poor ventilation and poor houses structures within the animal housing. Yeah. So for the kids unit area, for the kids we usually start weaning them after 3 months. So we usually say for the first 7 days, that's when the colostrum is at the highest producing level. So it is advisable to leave the kid with the doe for only 1 week. Then you can start isolating the animal, maybe the kid during the evening times and bringing it in the morning. Yeah. Then it is advisable when you're starting to breed animals. Find your own buck that is registered, it is a pedigree of good phenotypic character, and also is an active dairy goat. You may find a buck that is not a pedigree, but it is active. But what we advocate in most, it is a pedigree, so that we can pass on these genetics to the offsprings of the other does. So as you can see from here, this is our pedigree German Alpine. So all Alpines that are within the Charis farm, we are using the German Alpine. So this is a pedigree German Alpine, and this is a registered buck. So this buck is the one that you're using to breed the various does that we have here only for the Alpines. So for the Saanen and the Toggen, we are using something called the hybrid vigor. What is a hybrid vigor? So this is a crossbreed between 2 pedigree animals but not of the same breed, because of eliminating some difficulty characteristics. So one, this is a crossbreed between the Toggen and the Saanen. So that is the back. This is the back that you're using to breed our Toggen and for the Saanen. The reason behind that is for one thing. The Saanen usually produces from 2 to 5 liters in a day. But there's always one challenge. Their butterfat content is usually low. Then we come to disease. If there is an outbreak maybe in this farm, they will be the first animals to be attacked. Yeah? Then we go for the Toggen. For the Toggen, they usually have 0 to 2 liters, maybe to 2.5 liters within a day. So we are trying to bring the Saanen genetic into the Toggenburg genetic so that the Toggen can have the milk production of the Saanen, and also the Saanen can have the genetic makeup of the Toggen in disease resistant. So they are both sharing their genetic implantation in within. That's why we are advocating, and for our farm, we are doing the crossbreeding between the Saanen and the Toggen. For the Alpines, all the Alpines mostly are pure, especially for the German, but for the French and the British, they're usually a cross between the German and the British and the Alpine. For the German, they're usually pure. Yeah. So that's all about Charis farm, and that's all I'm going to say. But when it comes to breeding, look for places where you can find dairy goats that are suitable and they are good. For here, we usually sell our breeding bucks, and also we usually sell our does, especially when they are pregnant, so that you can be able to see and look for yourself the best dairy goats and their milk production. Seeing is believing. So come at Charis Farm, visit us, and we share our experience with you. Thank you. Once again, this is our rabbit section unit, and we have very different types of rabbits. As you can see, we have the Havana, originating from Holland, weighs from 4 to 6 kgs for the back, and for the doe usually 3.3 to 7 kgs for the doe. We have another one called the Dutch. So the Dutch, so this is the Dutch, half black, quarter white, and there's a strip coming from the ears down to the eyes, but usually have a white. Yeah. Then we have our giant Angora. So all these breed, when it comes to breeding, you should have the best bucks when it comes to breeding. So this is our giant Angora. We're using this for breeding, and also we are also advocating for people who are doing for meat production to go for the giant Chinchilla, giant Angora, and for the California white. Yeah. So this is the California white that I'm talking of. So the California white, they are very similar to the New Zealand. But for the California white, they usually have a black nose, black ears, and also a black tail. Also, sometimes the feet may be black, and that is it. We also go to this other side. We have a Flemish giant. This is the Flemish giant. Just gave birth to these beautiful bunnies that you can see over here, and they are almost 3 weeks from now from being given birth, and this is their mother. So when it comes to breeding of rabbits, you must have the best buck for breeding, so that you can be able to have also the best siblings from the buck. So this is the also the California white, the one that I was talking about. That is the Flemish giant, and also this is another Flemish giant. So over here we have our New Zealand. This is the New Zealand that we are talking of. It is totally pure white. Yeah. It is usually pure white. So most farmers keeping rabbits because of one thing: the urine, the manure, and for the meat purpose. But in Chari's farm, you're doing both of them and also adding something else called the breeding site for the rabbits in Kenya. So you can also source us for perfect breeds and also for best rabbit inquiry. We also teach people about rabbit farming, and also we also teach about diseases that may originate from the rabbits. Rabbits usually don't have so much diseases, but one disease that may originate is fever. It's not fever, it's pneumonia and diarrhea. But we usually control that through proper feeding, clean feeding, and also providing proper structures. As we can come to the structures, as you can see, they're also raised from the ground. One is to avoid also parasite infestation. That usually brings us to the parasite infestation. They usually have a thick fur. So it is so much difficult to know if your animal is under parasite infestation. So it is advisable just to raise your structures just slightly up. Then the second thing, avoid building your houses from the side where the wind is coming from, so that to avoid that pneumonia and avoid cold fever to your animals. So the next thing is also the housing structures in within. They must be slanted as to avoid dampness and also to help in ventilation and also easy correction in the dumping of manure. Our urine, usually we have a urine correction center. As you can see, we have some small gutters in within. So the urine usually, as they urinate, the urine is corrected at the bucket. We usually harvest it after every 1 week and we put them in jerry cans. Yeah, thank you. And visit us each and every time that you feel like.
So that is it for this episode. We hope that you're inspired to start the journey of farming today. If you're in diaspora and you'd like people to manage your farms for you, get in touch with us at kiafrica.com or contact the number that is down here. Remember to subscribe, share, and like our content. See you in the next episode.